are you witnessing from your vantage point?
The arrival of the president of China, the second biggest economy in the world. It's really a very good moment, I guess, for President Cyril Ramaphosa, who is on this drive of attracting a huge investment into the country. So if in a matter of months you are able to get a powerful individual like Xi Jinping, as you can see there, it means there's something right you're doing. Of course, it's a very important state visit, as you guys have said there in the studio. It really underscores the crucial relations that are happening between these two countries. Well, the president of China disembarking there, meeting our president as they shake hands. It, in a matter of minutes, Blaine and Desiree will see the official start of the state visit, accompanied by the 21-gun salute. You know, the foreign visiting head of state is afforded that privilege as a sign that he is really respected and honored by the hosting country. We see them making their way to their colleagues who are already standing here waiting for them, and then the official state visit will begin. So there will be national anthems, and of course the president of China will then later on inspect a guard of honor. Everyone stands ready, as you can see. It's very interesting. The president of China is here also for the BRICS summit. But before that, he visited two other African countries in the west, that's Senegal, and in the east, Rwanda. He is now here in SADC, in South Africa. As they make their way to their colleagues.
I guess at a time when the United States of America is adopting an America-first approach, China is seemingly bolstering its diplomatic trade and investment ties with Africa, isn't it?
And China is really seizing the moment, because traditionally the West, led by the US, have been the ones who have led this kind of engagements. But with the Trump administration, more inward-looking, and I think China is seizing the moment. If you look at their Congress in the past few months, they really pronounced that they want to be a global superpower at a later stage.
Yeah, the state visit takes place within the context of strengthening strategic and historical, political, economic, social, and international cooperation between South Africa and China. And Mzwai, South Africa has become China's largest trading partner in Africa, while China has been the country's biggest trading partner for, what, the past 9 years or so?
It tells you about the relations really that are happening, and they were formalized in 1998. Remember, before that, the apartheid regime used to have relations with Taiwan, and the issue of Taiwan, China is very clear that Taiwan is part of China. But of course, the issue of politics there, I think, is being dealt with in the manner in which China would wish to deal with it. So what is basically happening is that China is really taking this very seriously as we await the national anthem, the official.
There you have it there, footage from the Union buildings where President Cyril Ramaphosa is hosting his Chinese counterpart, President Xi Jinping of the Communist Party of China. And we continue with those comparisons we've been making between the two countries, that South Africa is a republic, which is a state in which the supreme power rests with citizens entitled to vote, whereas in China, it's a communist government administered and governed by a single party. Mzwai, wrap up this part for us, please.
That was the national anthem there of South Africa, welcoming the President of China. The President of China is a very powerful man. You'd remember that earlier this year, when the Communist Party met, they actually went as far as removing the term limits to allow him perhaps to serve indefinitely. So before, they would serve 2 5-year terms, like it happened with Hu Jintao and Jiang Zemin. But with this one, so who is really revered in his country, and I know that he's even called in some very interesting name, Dada Xi, which basically means Uncle Xi or Father Xi. Such is the imposing nature of this president. I was speaking to some of the people. They are saying his popularity levels, for example, is rivaling those of the founding latter-day China, Mao Zedong. So you can see with his dream, when he took over, he spoke about what you call the Chinese dream, the reinvention of the Chinese dream, where he wants China really to be the leader of the world. So he says by 2020, he wants every Chinese to be moderately prosperous. By 2035, he wants China to be a first world country. And then by 2049, which would be the 100th anniversary of the latter-day China, he wants it to be a global superpower. So you can see there that it's a man with a mission. Perhaps not surprising that so they felt maybe it's not necessary to have term limits, so he might as well continue and achieve what this Chinese dream seeks to do. He's greeting our ministers there, and the deputy ministers, of course, being shown by our president. And President Xi has actually held several positions, both in government and his party. He was the governor of Fujian province, and of course the deputy mayor of the Xiamen city. Xiamen city, that's where the BRICS summit took place last year. As we see being shown where to go to next, and it looks like they will now be thinking about the serious business of this meeting, because after all the pomp and ceremony, it's about getting down to business. And with the relations at a very cordial and high level, I'm sure there'll be so much to smile about. Well, a proud president there, showing the president of China around and doing a bit of chit-chat. I know that President Xi once studied in the US, so they are able to converse in English, though in formal situations you would hardly hear him speak English. They are walking and followed by the first ladies there. And very soon they'll be holding bilaterals. But it's the turn of the Chinese president to introduce his delegation to President Cyril Ramaphosa.
If you just joined us, you tuned in, you're watching President Cyril Ramaphosa hosting the President of the People's Republic of China, Xi Jinping, at the Union Buildings in Pretoria. Reportedly, two-way trade totaled about 525 billion rand last year between China and South Africa, more than 20 times what it was at the start of the diplomatic engagement between the two countries. Mzwai, what's in the cards for today? There's going to be, I understand, bilaterals between the two presidents, and will there be a press conference afterwards?
Indeed, Blaine, after the serious business of the state visit, as you see them walking in, so they are going in there to discuss the issues that they are meeting about. And of course, after that meeting, they will have to communicate what is it that they have agreed upon. We know that they are celebrating 20 years of cooperation since the establishment of formal ties in 1998, and of course 10 years of BRICS. And well, South Africa is also celebrating 100 years of Madiba.
Yeah.
Zai, I know this might be a bit of a difficult one for you, but the president's wife, Peng Luyan, is known for her fashion sense. Comparisons between our First Lady and the Chinese First Lady, in terms of how they presented themselves this morning?
At this time. Well, as you know, the President of China is here together with 4 other counterparts for the BRICS summit.
Disbanding, so to speak, as the pomp and ceremony is over. It's now back to the serious business of talking the economics, the politics that define this relationship that has stood the test of time. So we expect all those outcomes to be communicated to us. If we are on time, as had been so told, it should be around 1:45, that is 12:45. As you did see earlier, so the state visit started exactly on time. It was just after 10 o'clock, and then the state visit got underway. So we expect that so everything will really go according to plan. So we know that in China, or rather the Chinese delegation, they are really sticklers for time because they want to do things the right way. And South Africa, of course, would want not to disappoint their visitors. So issues must be decided and done, I think, on time. So as you would continue to be with us, we'll continue to update as everything is happening right here at the Union Buildings.
Mzwayi, I was trying to ask you this question earlier, and I think you didn't quite get it. The wife of President Xi Jinping, the First Lady of China, Peng Luan, who is also a folk singer and a performing artist, is known for her fashion sense. So I wanted you to give me your sense of comparison between our First Lady and the Chinese First Lady in terms of first impressions this morning, fashion-wise. All right, that question just seems to refuse to go through.
Unanswered.
They only want to talk about serious matters.
I know.
No fashion here.
China is rich, it's a melting pot of cultures, as you know.
And fashion is a huge contributor to GDP.
Exactly.
You know?
Big time.
But hey, later.
But yeah, you've been watching live visuals from the Union Building, the state visit of Chinese President Xi Jinping, President Cyril Ramaphosa hosting him, and there will be a press conference, I understand, around 1:45. So as soon as that happens, we'll bring that to you live. Well, BRICS countries have called on the bloc's new development bank to accelerate lending to the private sector and for closer working ties. The new development bank, formerly referred to as the BRICS Development Bank, was addressing the